Published in October 2024 by the Forensic Architecture Agency, the report entitled Cartography of a Genocide seeks to establish the nature of the Israeli military campaign in the Gaza Strip over the previous year. The more than 800-page document is accompanied by an interactive mapping platform built from the collection and interpretation of a vast number of photos, videos, and satellite images. It aims to demonstrate that the acts of violence inflicted on the people of Gaza and their environment are part of a genocidal project. The report supports the complaint against Israel filed by South Africa at the International Court of Justice in December 2023, as well as the advocacy of the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the Palestinian territories. Forensic architecture is both the name of the group of researchers behind the Cartography of a Genocide and of the discipline they helped to create. Founded in London in 2010 and based at Goldsmiths, University of London, the collective brings together architects, videographers, computer scientists, lawyers, and journalists. Their investigative and multimodal modeling work has revolutionized human rights activism by making use of architectural techniques. It consists of restructuring and exposing state crimes by turning against their perpetrators the forensic tools that they are usually the only ones to use. Conducted at the request of local communities or in partnership with human rights organizations, forensic architecture's investigations are almost as numerous as the conflicts that are tearing the planet apart. They have focused on drone attacks illegally carried out by the U.S. Army, on the bombing of hospitals by Russian and Israeli air forces, on police violence in Turkey, Mexico, Colombia, and the United Kingdom, on environmental crimes committed in Indonesia and Greece, on the involvement of European authorities in the disappearance of migrants in the Mediterranean, and on the German Secret Service's connections with far-right terrorists. Eyal Weizman, an Israeli-British architect and professor at Goldsmiths, is the founder and director of forensic architecture. Before discussing the production and reception of Cartography of a Genocide, we started by asking him to recount the origins, discuss the methodology, and explain the evolution of forensic architecture, both the agency and the discipline, as well as to retrace the long-standing involvement of the collective with the Palestinian cause. To establish the genocidal nature of the Israeli government's actions in Gaza since October 2023, Eyal Weizman and his colleagues have drawn on the text of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, and in particular on the clause that qualifies as genocidal the fact of imposing on a group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. For this is indeed the intention revealed by the massacres and forced displacement of civilians, by the systematic destruction of Gaza's buildings, infrastructures, and agricultural land, but also by Israel's deliberate efforts to erase Gaza's culture. Beyond the report itself and what it says about Israel's intent and goals, we asked Eyal Weizman about his current research on the long history of Gaza and the place that this region of Palestine occupies in the deployment and transformations of the Zionist project. He also evoked the troubling similarities between the fate of the people of Gaza and two other military campaigns that forensic architecture has been commissioned to investigate. One is the genocide perpetrated by the German colonial army against the Nama and the Ova Herero of Namibia at the turn of the 20th century. The other involves the attempt to exterminate the Ixil Maya of Guatemala under the dictatorships of Generals Rios Montt and Luis Garcia between 1976 and 1984. Our conversation ended with a discussion of the near future, as suggested by the Trump administration's assumption of power, the criminalization of support for Palestine throughout the global north, and the growing risks to which populations affected by state violence are exposed when they disseminate information about what happens to them. The interview took place in Paris on January 26, 2025.